This is Volkswagen at its pinnacle, man. There's no way this car should be taking bends like this and riding as well as it does. Right folks, so welcome back to another video. We're doing a MK8 Golf R review. I'm already sitting in it. This belongs to my friend. He's lent it to me for a few days. It's been long overdue doing a video on one of these. But yeah, this is essentially a £50,000 Golf. We'll hop out now, I'll give you guys a walk around. Now this thing is quite a stunning looking thing. I know when the MK8 came out, people were split on it, but when you've got a spec like this, it definitely does change the car's look up quite a bit. This thing has the R Performance Pack, which gets you this aero pack, which is very similar, or in fact is identical to the one you get on the GTI Club Sport. The wing pretty much gives it away. You also get the Estoril wheels as part of that pack. Now this particular car does have Goodyear Eagle F1 Super Sport tyres, which I have on the 140. They're like a Pilot Sport 4S rival, but you can get more size than 18-inch. This being on 19-inch wheels, you can get 4Ss anyway, but that's what they've chosen to do. The black paint is an option. Of course, it is a 5-door. You can't get a 3-door MK8 Golf R. They've stopped 3-doors generally in the whole MK8 line. This also has the Akrapovic exhaust, which is around £3,000. One of the bigger options on it. You'll be surprised how loud this thing is considering it has an OPF and cats in place. The MK8 Golf R also has these new brakes, which the caliper is slightly different. The discs are also slightly bigger. They're the same ones you get on the Club Sport as well. But one thing that I like that they've done is that the discs are actually very similar to like a Club Sport S Mark 7 style. So the center bit. In fact, before we move on to the interior, we'll open the bonnet, which I know some of you guys are already going to be saying, oh, there's no hydraulic bonnet strut and all of that, which there isn't, because it's a MK8. Trying to do this with one hand is a bit of a pain. So yeah, it's manually operated. There's no hydraulic strut. The only car out of the new MQBs that does have hydraulic bonnet struts is the Audi S3, or just generally the A3. Volkswagen has clearly cut some corners. Now, one thing that I feel like they should have made an F on is this engine cover. It's the same in the standard GTI and the Club Sport, but I feel like the R, especially with the amount of effort they've made on the outside, it would have cost them like 20p to make a nice engine cover, at least paint it blue or something in these middle bits, but leaves room for aftermarket or whatever. They removed the battery cover as well. But yeah, the engine is an E888, makes 320 PS, mated to a 7-speed DSG. I did notice that the oil cap is in a different place to a Gen 3. This is a Gen 4, of course. So there's a few changes, but the main biggest difference is the new turbo. So the turbo is made by Continental. It's no longer an IS38. You can't map these yet, so there's no idea of whether or not. Well, there's one company in Germany called HGP. Of course, Haldex. Now, the main difference with a MK8 Golf R over a Mark 7 is we've got this new torque vectoring diff on the rear. It also does have drift mode as part of the R Performance Pack. This thing is also delimited as part of the R Performance Pack, so I believe it's around 166 miles an hour according to the configurator. Now moving on to the inside, this is where there are quite a few options on this car and the price really does add up. First of which is these optional leather seats, which believe it or not are £2,600. That I definitely do have memorized in my head because it's such a crazy amount. You do only get electric driver's seat as well, so that seat's manually operated. Yeah, you only get one seat that's operated electrically. It has this kind of carbon effect and blue pattern. Got blue mats. Seem to have 2 USB-C ports there. Climate control as well. Carbon trim on the doors. Folding mirrors. Panoramic roof definitely does help with filming at this time where the light's getting a bit lower. But yeah, I know this is an area where a lot of people have been complaining about the MK8 R, or just generally the MK8. Me personally, I'm still a bit on the fence of it. I think, well, let's turn it on and get started with the infotainment system and we can carry on our ramblings from there. Yeah, so this screen's going to turn on in a second, I hope. You can even hear the Akrapovic just clicking away. So yeah, Harman Kardon sound system. One thing I will say, they have made an effort on the key, so they've finally given a Volkswagen a new style key after all these years. Starter buttons there, like every other MK8. Got this little gear selector for the DSG. Now, one of the main things that I don't really like is the fact that you have to touch this to control the climate, and it also doesn't light up in the dark from what my friend was telling me. The rest of it is definitely lacking in buttons. I mean, this area could be a bit more covered up, I reckon. It's of course the cup holder, but it just looks really like, I don't know. armrest is nice, but this is just here like just a big gap. That's just, yeah, it'd be nice to have a sliding tray. Got a charging pad here, the head-up display, which you can sort of see there. I know the bonnet's open, but yeah, you can see the thing there. Other options include the fact that this thing's got heated seats and ventilated seats. So if you go to here, these £2,600 seats, at least they come with something different in this class of car. You'd never expect it, but these literally have aircon seats. It's not listed on the configurator. I think Volkswagen should do that, because then it'll probably make people whinge a bit less, but crazy, isn't it? Cool seats on a Golf. Now, the other option that this car has, I believe, is Discover Pro. So you get various bits like jukebox and different amplifier, but the main thing is you get the maps on both screens. I would show you, but then I'd probably end up baiting at my location. I don't want to do that. So yeah, the screen is the same size on both. So if you've got the non-pro version of the Discover Media, it'll still be the same center screen, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure that's the case on a Mark 8. It was different on a Mark 7.5. Yeah, that's another £1,600, I believe. Other nice changes, we've got proper paddle shifters on an R. Club Sport and GTI and any past R, they're just always these little stubby ones. They don't have quite a good click, but here's what it is. Got an R button. These are unfortunately one big capacitive button, so it just, yeah, it's not ideal, but I haven't had no issues. I have taken this for a drive already last night. But there we have the gauges that change. Got that, which is the R1, then you got this, which is more traditional. But this is like a navigation one, which of course I'm not going to show you. That just shows that it's got Discover Pro. And then we've got central tack as well, which is my preferred one. And if you change the modes, which I'll go over to here, so this car does also have dynamic chassis control, which is another further option. Right, so with dynamic chassis control, you get various modes. This thing being a performance pack, you get even more modes, which is nice and cool. Of course, you get drift, when it tells you have to do it for a private road or racetrack, and only should be used by someone with the appropriate driving skills. Oh look, it's gone back off again, which is nice. We'll activate that. It goes all red. Even the RPM limit's gone up. There is a cool trick with that when you start driving in regards to the gearbox. I'll show you that when we take it for a drive. Everything's gone red like a GTI. We've also got, see, these are all subsections of race. So when you select Nürburgring mode, the car goes green, like the green hell. Individual, you can literally adjust this car to your heart's content. The DCC on this thing has, I mean, I'll try and count this actually now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12, 15 different settings for the dampers. That's crazy, that is. So look, race is actually down here. You've got 3 above the normal race. Now, I think a lot of you guys want to hear what the Akrapovic exhaust is like. Yeah, it's quite loud. I'm gonna give you some revs now. The car is still pretty warm. I do hope I've got all the options correct so far. There's just so much going on. It's hard to believe it even in a Golf. Right, so you're hearing correctly. This thing actually doesn't have a soft limiter, which is nice for a change. That was loud. Oh look, it's giving me eco tips whilst I'm trying to get some bangs. Right, so that was a walk around of the Mark 8 Golf R Performance. Definitely does sound very good. I'm glad it hasn't got a soft limiter for a change. All the cars of the last few years have been so boring. So it's nice that Volkswagen have added a bit of fun factor in the car again. We'll take it on the usual country roads, get you guys my driving impressions of how it compares to all the other stuff. Right, ESC's in sport as well. You know what's strange, yeah? This is what I noticed last night when I was driving it. Yeah, it's got around 320 PS. I know the BHP number is kind of up in the air. A lot of people have been dynoing them. Now, each dyno reads differently. I've seen a rough figure of 340 PS, which is what some of the accurate dynos read. So it's a bit above what Volkswagen say, but Volkswagen is used to lying about a lot of things, so that's nothing new there. The thing with dynos, they kind of just tell one part of the story. The only way to identify the car's performance these days is to drag it. So I went ahead and did that last night, all done on a private road, of course. So the findings were 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in around 4.5 seconds. if you knock that down to or convert it to 60 miles per hour like we do in the UK, it's about 4.2, 4.3. I had a few different readings, and that was generally the sort of area that I found the car to perform in. 100 to 200 kilometers an hour time. The best I got was around 11.7. So it's a pretty quick car for 320 PS. Of course, they've probably got a bit more. A quarter mile time, it averages around the 12.5 second quarter mile for me. I'll have the trap speed on the screen as well now. So those are the 3 data figures I gathered last night. Let me know what you think. I haven't got a stock 7.5R to compare it with, but yeah, this thing moves, man. It definitely moves. It doesn't feel like it moves though, I'll be honest. Like, it feels very secure until you look at the speedo. But yeah, I mean, it's very familiar VAG in that it just demolishes the road quite easily. Now, I was pretty sold on getting a Mark 8 Club Sport in one of the previous videos. I mentioned it, well, in the Club Sport review I did. But after driving this R now, I wouldn't even bother with getting a Club Sport. If I was one of you guys, for example, and you were weighing it up, yeah, the Club Sport feels a bit more urgent, no doubt. This feels a bit lazy at times, but yeah, if you get one of these with the R Performance Pack, just see added solidity and room for growth. It's just higher in this thing. Because once they start tuning, you know this is going to be the car. So in full manual mode right now, one thing I just want to demonstrate is the fact that it will auto upshift. See, I'm not pressing the paddle at all. Yeah, you can tell the car is quick, the amount of wind noise that comes in the cabin. So this being a performance pack, there's actually one other cool feature that you may or may not know, and that's it will hold the gear if you're in drift mode. It's pretty cool. I mean, it makes sense, it gives you ultimate control. So I'll actually demonstrate this right now. So right, let's get it into drift mode. Press on the R button, drift, and I'll show you. Look, it hits into the limiter. See there? Don't worry, the car can handle a bit of rev limiter abuse. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, the dash goes red. When you put it into Nürburgring mode, the dash goes green. Feels even more hard edged now. Okay, maybe Nürburgring mode's where it's at. We'll try a launch now here. It's a bit uphill, but I've already done my 0 to 60 times elsewhere. I just want to show you the sound. Yep. Interesting. Gearbox 2 hot lights just come on. Is it just me, or is it I can't do launches in any car? It has got a 98-degree gearbox temp right now, and it does have an actual gear temp gauge, which it would be nice to have that in the RS3, but I don't know why the gearbox is overheated. Yeah, temperamental. I assume this must be a DQ381. Yeah, a lot of these numbers, you hardcore nerds will understand what I'm on about, but I launched it a few times last night, there was no issue, so do one launch today for the video and that's it, it just has enough. Strange, folks, yeah, sometimes it doesn't feel that quick, like it feels like it bugs, then other times it just flies, especially when you get into second and third, when you just let it ring out. I mean, a road like this, you're definitely going to be one of the quickest things. Yeah. The way you can hug an apex as well is amazing. It's a very different sensation to what I normally find in my RS3. Obviously these are both Haldex cars, but this having that rear differential unit, and it actually feels like it's doing torque vectoring. The thing is, an RS3 is nowhere near as alive as this thing in the Benz. Top tip though, man, get an R, get a performance pack, and then leave in Nürburgring mode most of the time. Don't bother with normal race. Most of this video, when I'm talking to the camera, like when you see my face, I'm actually in R mode. Filming this point of view afterwards, I just figured out Nürburgring mode so much better. Look at that, so alive. That gets rid of all the lag that I was complaining about earlier. Even with ESC on. Very confusing, very confusing. Oh man, I wish I had some more tighter bends to chuck this around. This thing will just keep tugging into the corner. It's like how the sensation would be in a front wheel drive car with a diff, except the whole car is tugging towards the corner. in a very natural way though. It doesn't feel weird. It just keeps giving you more. There's been a lot of debate on the internet, hasn't there, with the Mark 8R. Oh, the gearing's like this and it's so quick and whatever. It don't feel anywhere near as quick as an A45S. I know there's some videos out there that show this beating an A45S, but believe me, when you actually drive them back to back, I mean, I've had a fair bit of seat time in the A45S, got to really drive it, and it's way quicker than this, as it should be. It's like the step above this, isn't it? Even outgoing RS3 is a lot quicker than this. So if you're going to get one of these thinking you're going to be, you know, the fastest hatchback on the road, you're not, but you likely have one of the best ones. Does that mean as an all-rounder? Because this thing's just lovely. A lot of the Mark 7 boys who are, you know, taking a big dump on the new car, saying it's this and that, this car's a big step up, man. Apologies for making strange noises, folks, but this is Volkswagen at its pinnacle, man. There's no way this car should be taking bends like this and riding as well as it does. There's no reason to doubt the fact that this is as quick as an old Club Sport S around the Nürburgring. I believe it, man. It's very close. I'm pretty sure they're both in the 750, 740 range. Let's go. Couldn't gauge launch properly all the time. I've not had the overheat come back up since then. Only thing that would be nice would be to have a button to put it in manual mode rather than have to override it with the paddles, because that means I have to upshift then go back down. Small niggles really. I genuinely think that this car is good enough for all of the, you know, practicality niggles to be ignored. I know you can't really ignore them if you use it day to day, but it drives so well that I can forgive it. But yeah, folks, I think what we'll do, we'll end the video here. Hopefully you enjoyed my sort of review on a Mark 8R. I tried to cover everything, but there's so many things I had on my list that I probably will have missed something out. You never know. But yeah, make sure you drop a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe for a lot more content to come. And yeah, let me know what other videos you want to see on this beast. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.